Hey there, how's it going? I hope you're doing well. And today, it's been a while since I've cooked anything, talked about what I'm eating these days, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna cook something and just talk about stuff and eating and the experience and what life's like 10 months after, almost 11 months after bariatric surgery and that sort of thing. So I'm gonna set up the camera so you can see what I'm doing. I'm not gonna go through all the food prep because that's kind of boring. Maybe if you really want to see that, let me know. But I've prepped all the things ahead of time. So I'm just gonna put it together and show you what I'm making today. I'm making my version of fried rice without rice. And we'll talk about what I'm using. And it is really, really good. It's got a nice amount of protein. It's got a ton of vegetables, things that are good for your microbiome and all that kind of stuff. And that's something that I'm really, really passionate about. So let's get cooking. All right, here we go. We are going to make some fried quinoa. Okay, so what we're going to be doing, I'm not using a wok. I'm using my favorite carbon steel frying pan here. And it works great. Not traditional, but it works great. I've got 2 tablespoons of avocado oil in there, and we're gonna get this started and getting it warmed up. It's gonna make a little noise. I'm cooking on the island because it's just easier for me to record videos here instead of my regular cooktop. So I'm using this little portable induction burner. So I'm gonna let it heat up a moment and just kind of tell you what I've got going on here. I've got 4 eggs. I've got 2 cups of quinoa. I've got about a cup of sliced yellow pepper, about a cup, maybe a little less, of matchsticked carrots. I've got about a 1/4 cup of serrano chilies, sliced it. I've got about 2 cups of, this is yadfa and chigemisai. 2 great, really good tasting greens. They pack more of a nutritional punch than kale. They are super easy to grow. I think you'd love them. It's something you can grow on your deck, outside. I'll show you. I'll throw up a little picture over here of where we grow ours. It's just in this little self-watering container. It works awesome. The other thing I have here is I don't know, about a 1/2 cup of green onion diced up here as we go. So this is starting to get pretty hot, so we're going to throw in, we're going to move the oil around a little bit, and we're going to throw in the eggs. And we're going to let that fry up a bit. We're going to let that actually sit there for a little bit, get a little crispy. Now, this is not one meal, right? This is several meals. So taken all together, and about the size of meal that I eat from this, it's about 12 grams of protein, so not a bad, when we're talking mostly vegetarian, but obviously there are quite a few eggs in here. But you'll see once we get the bulk heated up here that it's going to be mostly vegetables and plants. And we're going to throw a little bit of salt on here, and a little bit of pepper. And we're going to continue to let that fry up until we're just starting to get solid here. I've got to move the pan around a little bit because this particular burner doesn't get the whole pan totally even. We'll start moving things around a little. Yeah, there we go. We'll get that part of it started to go. So we're gonna get the egg nice and fried up. Get some crispy bits here and there. And you'll notice I've got a lot of vegetables. I try to eat 20 to 30 different kinds of vegetables every week. And you're like, well, I should say vegetables, I should say plants. 20 to 30 plants. And you're like, oh my God, how can that possibly happen? How can you eat that many plants in a week if you're not used to it? Well, everything that grows counts, right? From the ground. So your spices, nuts, seeds, all of that kind of thing. So when I'm making this, I usually grab a bunch of different stuff. It's not the same thing every time. So this time I've got some of this yellow bell pepper. Have these carrots. I'm gonna throw those in there first. And I'm gonna throw the peppers in there. We're gonna get all of those going first. Start mixing them up with the egg. So like I said, this is several meals for me, right? And this is one of my favorites. You may be wondering about how many carbs there are. I'll be honest with you, I don't care. The carbs that are in here are all really good carbs. There are no simple carbs in here. Quinoa is an ancient grain. It's got great protein. It takes a while for the stomach to digest it. It's wonderful. The other carbs we have in here are obviously the veggies. And then we've got that protein balance. Protein from the eggs and protein from the quinoa. One of the things I try to do when I'm eating mostly plant-based is mix varieties of things. Now, if you don't want to put eggs in this, tofu. You could do silken tofu and make it kind of eggy. You could make, firm tofu. You could, lots of options. There's other, obviously, things you can do. If you're into seafood, you can do shrimp. All right, I'm gonna put in my yad pho and chai chimasai and get that going there. And you'll have to pardon me if I spill some stuff over the side. It would be nice to have a walk. My wife doesn't really want me to spend a lot of money on pots, even though it's kind of a thing for me, so I try to just make do with what I have. So I use my favorite pan. And we're gonna let that go. Let the vegetables start. Look at all that color. Oh my God. Colors are great. They're all just bright and good. Just going around here. Yeah, buddy. This is gonna be awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, this quinoa has been refrigerated overnight, just like you would do with rice. I just find it works a lot better that way. And speaking of that, we're gonna add in the quinoa. Boop. There we go. I'm gonna put in just a tiny bit more salt. Tiny bit more pepper, and we'll start mixing that in. Break up any clumps. If you want to change your ratios of quinoa to vegetables or egg or whatever, do what you want to do, man. It's yours. It ain't mine. Do what you want to do. So where am I in this journey anyway? I was going to talk a little bit about that. Well, 10.5 months post-op, I'm down 107 pounds, almost 108, and body fat is right where I want it to be. I mean, really, right now, I'm starting to transition from weight loss to fitness. So I'm actually starting to ratchet up exercise and weight training. I've been going to physical therapy specifically to make sure that I'm moving right, that I'm not jumping out ahead of things and getting myself injured because I think I know how my new body moves. So I'm doing physical therapy, doing that twice a week, working in more weight training. Every week it's getting more challenging. It's really, really great. Obviously I still walk and do that kind of thing. Okay, I'm going to add in these onions now. Get those going. Oh man, I love when those onions hit and that steam comes up. I just love that smell. It's so good. Now look at all this has tons of plants in it. It's got about 5 grams or more of fiber, which is awesome. You know, that's the stuff your gut needs. Let that go. Now, yeah, so the final bit here. We got some tamari sauce, and if you're not familiar with tamari, it's very much like soy sauce. It doesn't have gluten in it. It doesn't have wheat product in it. It's a little more intensely flavored, so you usually don't need as much. This is a low sodium variety. Obviously, I added salt to my vegetables and quinoa, eggs and stuff, so I don't need a regular salt content soy sauce. I'm gonna mix all that up. Oh my god, this is looking so good. Woo! I'm sorry guys, but if you like fried rice and you want to do something other than white rice or brown rice that tastes really, really good, that is like a whole lot better, has just, I'm telling you, this is the way. All right, let's turn that off. Let's give it a try. I'm gonna grab a little bowl. All right, look at that. That is just awesome. And I think, you know what else this needs? It needs a little sriracha. That's what it needs. A little bit of sriracha. And we're gonna give this a taste. It is so good. It is spicy. It's got depth with the tamari. The tamari has really good depth. It's got a little kick to it. Obviously, sriracha adds a little bit more, but I taste those chilies in there. Oh. The yadfa, the gemcinum, can't say it. the yadfa and the greens add the trigemicide, add a nice freshness to it, along with the spring onions. Oh, good stuff. All right, I made a little bit of a mess, pardon me. And there you go. There is my fried quinoa. And this, like I said, this is several things. I'll use this for lunches, for breakfast. Sometimes I'll have it for breakfast. And I'll throw another egg on top of there. So, you know, lots of options there. So hopefully, I have shared something that you find kind of interesting and maybe potentially tasty, something maybe a little bit different that you didn't think of as far as replacement for regular fried rice. And again, depending on what works for you, right? I'm not saying that this is the recipe that everyone should do. I'm just saying if you want an alternative to regular fried rice, this is really tasty. It's just great. And so I recommend you give that a try if you're interested. If you're scared about the carbs, if that's not your thing, if you're doing really low carb stuff and that's what works for you, choose something else because this has a lot of carbs. But I'm telling you right now, it's not about the total carbs, it's about the type of carbs you're dealing with, right? Do you have fiber? It's not even about net carbs. It's about what carbs do what to your body. And sometimes that takes a little bit of experimentation to find out what the effects of those are. One thing I want to share is in the very near future, within the next week, I'm going to be getting a test kit for my microbiome. Yeah, no kidding. And I'm going to do an unboxing. We're going to look at all the tests. There's a blood test. There's a stool sample. There are special muffins that you eat. I'm going to be wearing a continuous glucose monitor for 2 weeks and measuring the effects of all these different foods on my body to find out what works best for me. And so I'm going to be sharing that entire journey here on my channel. So I hope you come back. Stay tuned, check in for that, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.